Well, we're back with another update. One of the things that I wanted to mention is I was unable to come to social media with this issue until now. This isn't a way to put my ex-wife and her ridiculous husband on blast because for the most part they're anonymous. I'm not going to give their location. I'm not going to give their names. If you know me personally, you know who I'm talking about. But this is not to put a certain person on blast. This is to give awareness to a situation. My ex-wife and her attorneys were very specific about including a clause in our second custody agreement that was basically social media gag order. Now, I've heard of other variations of this across the country. Sometimes judges will include it in a final custody agreement. Sometimes attorneys will include it in a final custody agreement. Sometimes a judge will include it during the process of developing a custody agreement to keep your mouth shut during the process, and you can't talk about attorneys or the judges or any aspect of the process. The dishonest and guilty party is the one who doesn't want anything to be discussed on social media. Now, up front, they claim that it is to protect the kids or whatever. But in all reality, it is to prevent people in my situation from being able to discuss this on an open forum. It essentially encroaches on my right to free speech, which is a federal right to every citizen of the United States to be able to speak freely on any topic, as long as it's not violence, racism, or encroaching on the legal rights of anybody else. So in my case, as I go to social media to discuss my situation, about my experiences in my life, I was taken back to court for contempt. And the reason is because the things that I discussed were stuff from my marriage that I experienced. And I didn't spin it as it was all her fault. Of course, there was no way to sanitize the issue to make it look like it was nobody's fault. Obviously, by default, you knew who was the wrongdoer in the things that I was sharing. So I would encourage anybody moving forward to avoid these social media gag orders because it is your right to be able to discuss things in public that have to do with your life and your experiences. And if you happen to have a crooked judge or a crooked guardian ad litem or even a crooked attorney, it's your right to be able to discuss the elements that you experience because that's going to educate other people and give them the opportunity to be able to avoid this situation in their own lives. I'd like to remind everybody that as we are able to make this a public conversation, as we're able to engage people from all over the world, all different states, that's what's going to promote the change. This is a tragedy. This is an epidemic. And I would argue that this probably has a lot to do with the downfall of a lot of our societies and our younger generation. So here's to making it better for the future.